This is a Dragon Blazer production, and I am the little boogeyman.
All right. Coming down the aisle, your podcast tag team champions of the world, Boomer and Blaze.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Boomer and Blaze Show. I am Boomer.
And I'm Blaze.
And as you can see, look at that, 2 weeks in a row. We're on a roll.
Yeah.
Our work schedules have worked out. So here you go. And as you can see, a little different background today. It's a lovely rainy day here in Ohio, and my studio lighting's not the greatest. So no nerd cabinet in the background today. Instead, we're in my living room, and you can see I'm single. So there you go. It's no. It's a joke. It's a joke. I don't
Stop
care.
those feelings. Stop those feelings.
Maybe the giant stop sign. All right. Anyway, here we are. We are back again. As you can see, this week we're going to be covering St. Valentine's Day Massacre from 1999. It's a little crazy because in the WWE pay-per-view world, we're not that far away from WCW being dead, and we haven't even actually got into like WCW yet because we're still kind of in the NWA days, and we're about to see the death of it here in another little over a year, almost 2 years, 2001. So we're getting close to the death of WCW. That's crazy.
Yeah.
May it rest in peace. Real quick, I was going to skip over this week. I didn't send a graphic. So before we dive into everything I sent you, I'm going to address something I wasn't going to address, but I kind of shared it on our Facebook page, and it's about AEW. When AEW started, I was watching it every week. First year AEW existed, I bought every pay-per-view, man. And that's not cheap. You know what I mean? $40, $50 a pay-per-view every
No,
one.
we remember those days.
And yeah, you can go back and listen. We used to have AEW news every week. You notice we don't talk about it anymore. And I don't because nobody cares anymore. AEW is dying. My favorite wrestler of all time, one of them, Edge, for God's sakes, I have an Edge tattoo, is on this show weekly, and I don't care. Nobody does. And Eric Bischoff kind of said it best. Tony Khan is a fanboy with a lot of money living out his fantasies. It's like he's playing 2K with real life people. Tony books for himself. There's lack of story. Listen, like when you bring in somebody, they just signed Okada. Can I ask you, Blaze, my co-host, what's your favorite Okada match? How much do you know about Okada? Are you watching New Japan every week?
I have no idea who Okada is.
Do you want to know what his contract is? $4.5 million a year. And they think that's why AEW got Okada's because of the contract. No, they got him because WWE didn't want Okada because nobody knows who he is. I've seen videos. The guy can wrestle. I don't know who he is. I don't care. AEW has no story. It's just throwing matches together for no reason. For no reason. This week we have Claudio, formerly Cesaro, versus Will Ospreay. But why? Just because Tony Khan wants to see it. Like you have to have, we talk about it all the time. Not every match has to have a story, but when you have none, when you have no stories, nobody cares. You never separated Ring of Honor from your product. It's just all blended together. We don't know who the hell wrestles for who. But what I wanted to address was this past week. There was zero reason to show that CM Punk footage. Are you a moron? Are you a moron?
I heard the
first
fans chanting CM Punk.
Oh, yeah, that's what you just created. Not only that, I shared it on our page. In 1 week, CM Punk was on WrestleMania, Raw, and Dynamite. Thanks to you. All you saw was CM Punk whoop Jack Perry's ass. Oh, and by the way, I'm no lawyer, but I'm pretty sure if there's an NDA, which there is, probably can't show that footage on your fucking TV show.
Probably should.
Yeah, so he's facing some legal trouble. And all he ever wants to do is try to talk down the other companies and everything. It's just a mess. Like the only reason they're going to survive is if they keep a TV deal, and then they're just going to be Impact. Sorry, fans of Impact, but it's true. The majority of wrestling fans don't watch Impact either. But yeah, it's just the greatest.
Impact, actually.
The greatest Impact's been getting better, by the way. But my point is, Impact survived all this years, and a lot of years people didn't even watch it, but it was still around. AEW is dying, and it's all thanks to Tony Khan. So there you go. Where did you go now? Where did you go? You said you wanted to talk about him.
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, sorry. For some reason, it said mic was unplugged. Yes, I would like to talk about Impact, but before I do, I do want to talk about this as well. So, agreed, and I was talking to a friend about this, and it sucks because I feel like AEW is best for business, to quote an old phrase.
The more wrestling, the better. Like, I don't want them to fail. It's good for everybody. It's good for everybody.
Competition makes things better. Now, maybe with Triple H, we won't have the crap that we had when WWE had no competition, but I feel like it does. I feel like it does, and it's best for business of AEW. And it seems like Tony Khan is just
running in the ground.
It's about to be WCW, and I'm worried.
And there's been other things, man. Did you know about the interview before Mercedes Moné debuted? Before Sasha debuted, she did an interview. In that interview, she said, "I have unfinished business in WWE. I will be back." Oh, somebody who just signed said this in a fucking press conference before she stepped foot into your company. Like, it's a joke. It's a joke. Well, she went there to get the money. The reason these stars go is because you get money. And it's less dates. It's not FDR stayed. They could have went back to WWE and got paid, but it's less travel. It's less time on the road. You're still on TV. You're still making money. So these guys are like, hey, fuck it, whatever. You know, like if I can get paid and be home with my family and don't have to travel as much, it's so scary. Eric Bischoff gets pissed, but it's so scary how much it's like WCW was back in the day. It's mind-boggling. Except WCW whooped WWE's ass several times for several weeks. For years, during the Monday Night Wars, WCW whooped that ass. Tony Khan's not whooping anything but his own ass. Like, he's just burying himself.
The only positives of if AEW does end up going under is we might get MJF and WWE. We might get.
I think that'll happen anyway.
Cassidy.
But think about this. How many guys would lose their jobs? You can't take all those guys.
Jungle Boy.
Jungle Boy's already gone. And by the way, though, I kind of love what he's been doing in Japan. That's a whole nother podcast. But he wears a leather jacket that says "scapegoat" on the back.
I've heard about this.
You know, like, so it's kind of, I like it. Anyway, I wanted to just address that for a minute. Tony Khan, you're a moron. Like, hire someone else to run your company or whatever. But I couldn't imagine if you went out of business. Somebody shared it on social media, and right now, 40 guys on that roster are former WWE guys. 40.
Well,
that's insane.
I gotta bring up something. There was, I should have brought it up last week. I didn't think about it, but there was one major disappointment with WrestleMania. I love that WrestleMania, but there was one disappointment, and it's because nobody said his name.
Well, that would be because your new love there, Joe Hendry. Yeah.
Do you believe in Joe Hendry?
The reason you hear that name is because
Joe Hendry.
He's not on the main roster yet. I'm sorry. That's why you didn't hear that name. That's a good one. Yeah, Joe, you messaged me about how you're like, I don't know who this guy is, but I'm in. Yeah, the future.
He's been blowing up my TikTok, and I am down for it. I've been seeing I don't know, promos. I guess not skits. I've been seeing promos where people are like, "Don't say his name, don't say his name," and then he just pops out of the locker with that giant gay smile, and I love every moment of it. This is my new favorite wrestler, and I've never seen the guy wrestle. I don't know if he can wrestle. He
just likes the shtick. Right.
But
he just likes the shtick. He likes the character. He doesn't even
his gimmick is fantastic. I have been obsessed with Joe Hendry. I showed this to a friend of mine who's not even a wrestling fan, and he's like, "This is my favorite wrestler too."
I mean,
Like,
that right there was kind of like an old, like, that had like an old 80s or 90s vibe commercial. That was like an old Gillette commercial or something, you know what I mean? Or a Brute commercial. That was one of the, like you see him in the Rocky Mountains, and it was a totally different thing than you'd expect. Yeah. Or he could sell you a car. That would also be like a feeling.
The one bad thing about showing that video like that is that they mute our mics and they get rid of our video. Because I was dancing. You saw me, right? I was dancing. I
did see you.
Joe Hendry.
I didn't realize it was muted at first because I was talking some smack, and then I looked down and I'm like, oh, I'm muted. But
yeah, so
real quick,
one thing about these video clips. When I share a video clip like that, it mutes us and focuses just on that video.
We're learning as we go, but one more real quick thing, because last week we were trying to rush because we were like, we want to get an episode in. It's Mania. We don't have to watch anything. We can do it quickly. I had one complaint about WrestleMania 2. I complained about it before, and I thought it would have changed by now, and I don't know what the issue is, but fucking Solo Sikoa can't take a clothesline out of the ring without completely turning his body around before the person even touches him. You're diving out of the ring. John Cena wasn't even near you yet. You're like... I don't know why the man can't go back to the NXT for a minute and learn how to take a fucking clothesline. Luckily, he was in the main event, but I noticed that right away. You know, I'm aggravated. And one of the greatest. I'm still on a high from WrestleMania. One of the greatest Manias ever, and I'm like, fuck you, Solo. You can't take a clothesline outside of the ring. You can take an F5 through the announce table, but you can't take a clothesline. Okay, now that I got that out of the way, let's start and let's get into our. Let's go now that I got my bitch to Solo out of the way. Here we go. All right, let's start off. We had a death. We had an interesting death. We had a death that kind of, what polarized me about this is, I don't know about your feed, there wasn't a whole lot of what I would have expected. There wasn't a whole lot of social media. I thought there'd be a lot of immediate, appropriate jokes. I thought there'd be some people happy. I didn't expect to see a bunch of
inappropriate. I saw a lot of inappropriate.
See, I didn't. My feed was kind of quiet. I thought I expected more reaction. Of course, the family of his Nicole Brown came out saying basically like, "Fuck yeah, whatever." But yeah, I mean,
not that that's funny, but
hey,
so,
look, you talk about a polarizing character. It's one of those things. You're talking about an ex-NFL player, a movie star, and somebody involved in a trial that captivated the entire country. I mean, I remember, I don't think if people didn't live through it, like kids today, I don't think kids today could imagine sitting in the classroom. And I was young, but I remember watching this in school. I'm not saying we watched the trial all day long, but I for a fact remember watching parts of this trial in school, not just the verdict. Like, it was insane. And of course, the chase, one of my favorite things ever, the 30-mile-an-hour, 800 cops chase. But anyway, go ahead. I mean, OJ,
so, one of the memes I saw was, if this funeral doesn't look like this, and it was like a Ford Bronco with a bunch of black cars
with all yeah.
So I definitely saw memes of OJ.
A couple of years ago on Pawn Stars, they had an opportunity to buy OJ's Bronco, and ended up not doing it. They didn't want to pony up what the guy wanted, but it was the Bronco.
Oh my goodness.
The Bronco, and they didn't want to pay the dough, because the truth is you would have to find the right person. You know what I mean? With a lot of money. Because other than that, it's just a really old Bronco. Like, it's still in great, immaculate shape, but like the value of the cars, so anyway. But yeah, OJ, I mean, my first exposure to OJ was Airplane or Naked Gun, whichever I watched first. I know Airplane came first, but I don't know which one I actually watched.
For me, it was Naked Gun, because I actually have never seen Airplane, and I'm very sad about this fact.
Wow.
Watch it. I've never actually seen it. And it's not because I've avoided it. I just never have just never have gotten myself to do it.
Well, I could tell you the Airplane came first, and it's the same team, the same creators made Naked Gun.
I'm sure I love it.
So, I mean, hey, why not you and your son? I mean, there's an episode right there for you.
I already planned on this. As soon as I find an excuse to watch it, I will be watching it. Yes.
Yes. So, I believe I saw the Naked Gun before I saw Airplane, but that's I remember OJ is a football player. I found that out, later on. But yeah, I believe I watched Naked Gun before But and of course the trial, and the only people that will ever know the truth are all gone now. So
I didn't realize OJ was in
know.
Airplane.
Yeah, OJ is an airplane.
I knew he was in Naked Gun.
Yeah, he's an airplane. I believe he's one of the co-pilots. I believe. I could be wrong. I haven't seen it in a long time, but he's either a co-pilot or a passenger on the plane. But he is an airplane as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
And I mean, like I said, the trial, like I was looking up some of that stuff today, and the world like literally stopped during that verdict. It was a time where like they estimated $480 million worth of product and labor was wasted because the country literally just stopped during however long it took, to read that verdict.
Okay, so I gotta say, first off, fuck OJ Simpson. Second, I was listening to a TikTok the other day that was talking about how OJ Simpson screwed Gargoyles and got them canceled, essentially.
Oh.
Now, this is how they explained it. In the second season of Gargoyles, they tried doing something that a lot of cartoons don't do. Instead of doing like standalone episodes, they tried doing one long continuous story, which is something that's a lot more popular and done nowadays, but back in the 90s.
Yeah, that's called episodic television, but they didn't really do that with cartoons.
They
but
really do that with kids' cartoons. First off, Gargoyles was a lot darker than most kids' cartoons to begin with. Gargoyles was pretty badass. But they were trying to do one long continuous story, and they were doing it throughout the weeks and everything in the second season. Unfortunately, at the same time Gargoyles was being aired was at the same time they were doing the OJ Simpson trial, and nobody was watching it. And
there's more evidence of
So
also, like,
that is the
anything.
biggest problem with OJ Simpson is he ruined Gargoyles season 2.
He ruined a lot of TV because that was taking up you couldn't watch anything besides the fucking OJ trial. And I mean, it was. I'm one of those people, right? You know this. We talked about this. You're not a documentary person. I am, and I've watched and read a billion things about this. And whether he did it or not wouldn't matter because all the circumstances surround. There was no way. No, they could have found the fucking weapon with OJ's fingerprints on it. He still would have got off in that trial. It was the circumstances. It was the time. You had the Rodney King thing going on. The attorneys on the other side screwed their whole case up. That whole glove shit put a nail in the coffin. Like, there was just so much that happened that there was no way OJ was going to be found guilty at that time. It was just circumstances. I mean, we know he had something to do with it because when he got sued the second time, he did get found guilty of having something to do with it, whatever they call it. So, I mean, the
moment that I lost any doubt, like the moment that I stopped thinking that there was even a possibility that he didn't do it, is when he wrote a fucking book said, "If I did it." Like,
yeah,
that.
But see, the man knew he could have literally. Makes me sound morbid, but he could have literally like went on pay-per-view and just walked up there and said, "Not only did I do it, I fucking got away with it," and they couldn't have done anything. It was over. You can't, double jeopardy. He could have literally admitted to it on TV on a pay-per-view, and they couldn't have touched him. But it's whatever. And then he went through that whole mess of stealing his shit back, but cancer is what ended up taking him out. 76 years old. I was just kind of shocked. Maybe it's just because of the pages I followed that I didn't see more about it. I guess not so much the memes come all the time, but usually when someone dies, you see a whole lot more of like stuff they were in and their careers and blah blah blah. And I think just a lot of people are still.
OJ's a little too polarizing.
Yeah, he's almost not as bad, I don't think, but he's almost like, I think he's going to be like a Chris Benoit now, right? You can't say OJ, I don't know. It's one of those deals. But anyway, I got a perfect though, like transition, as you can tell, because we're going to go from OJ, who was in Naked Gun, to the Naked Gun reboot that we are going to be getting. This is real. And I don't know if we talked about this before because I've known about it for a while. Liam Neeson was announced a while ago, but now Pamela Anderson has been cast. It is a reboot. So I'm not sure if Liam's going to be Frank Drebin or if they're going to have, a new main character. I'm not sure.
Maybe Frank Drebin's son.
Maybe. And this name might not sound familiar, but the reason I'm excited is because of the director. I wouldn't have known his name either, but it's Akiva Schaffer. Would have never known his name, but he directed. You might. See, you're one of those guys. But do you know a few things that this man directed? Because I know he directed one movie that you really liked. But he did Grown Ups 2, both Neighbors, MacGruber, Hot Rod, Pop Star.
Yeah, he's one of the Lonely Island.
Oh, is he? I did
believe
not know
he's-
that. But
I believe
I
he's
didn't know
one of
that.
the three
And
main Lonely Island.
and he
That's
just
why he
directed
did Hot Rod. Did a lot of stuff with Andy Samberg. He was
Yeah,
a writer
and
on
he did-
SNL. Both the other guys from Lonely Island were both writers, where Andy was an actual
okay.
one of the alum from SNL. But
And
he was also
the last movie he just did was Weird, the Al Yankovic story. That's the last thing he just directed. So there you go. That's our director.
So
So I'm excited for it. This
I
could
will
be.
say I think Liam Neeson's is a good choice to replace, because Leslie Nielsen was originally just a dramatic actor, and the thing
Yeah,
that made
exactly.
Leslie Nielsen
And a lot of people
so
don't know that.
funny, one of the things that made him so funny is there was so much ridiculous around him, but he always played it straight. He always
Right.
played it like
He didn't realize what was happening. He was always serious, and
that's what made the comedy so funny. Is everybody else is being ridiculous while he is just.
It's like the world's blowing up, and he's still just drinking his coffee and walking down the street. You know, it's like the chaos is oblivious to him. And I think and to be honest,
a proper
I think
Liam
Pam
Neeson joke is the atom bomb goes off, and he grabs a stick with a marshmallow and doesn't realize that the world is ending. He's heating up his marshmallow with the atom mushroom cloud. Like that's the kind of comedy, and I love it. And I think Liam Neeson would be good for it. Pamela Anderson on the other side of him,
I think it can work. I think it depends on the chemistry between the two of them. But Pam has proven that she can be, she can be funny. She can do this kind of off the wall. She's been in some of those. I can't think of many right now, but she was in some of that, like Not Another Teen Movie, Scary Movie. She was in some shit like that. I think she can pull it off.
I guess I'm surprised they went with an age-appropriate actress. You know how it is with Hollywood. Traditionally, they hire this older man, and then they hire someone half his age to be the female lead. So I'm just surprised.
But if you followed, I'm pretty sure Priscilla wasn't that much. She was younger than Liam, but not by a lot. Like, I don't think it was like, But you're right. Normally, the younger, hotter, but Pamela hasn't really done anything in a long time, so maybe it's just one of those, like, hey, it's Pam. Yeah. Let's see what happens. But I'm excited for it.
It could be interesting, and I'll watch this. I love
the other thing that
I love Leslie Nielsen. In fact,
even
though I've never seen Airplane, when Leslie Nielsen died, I worked at Logan's, and I wrote on where we put like 86 stuff. Whenever we had something that we were out, we had a little dry erase marker that we'd write on the wall. I put up there, surely he'll be missed. Liam Neeson, surely he'll be missed. But don't call him Shirley. Like, I know the quote.
You do know the quote.
I've never seen Airplane, but I know the quote well. And then
he was
I was
a pilot.
very sad, and that's the moment I started realizing I'm getting old, when a few of my coworkers were like, who is that?
Yeah, I have a lot of those moments that I don't like to have. The other thing besides the movies itself I always loved about Naked Gun is the way they numbered them all. It wasn't Naked Gun and Naked Gun 2 and Naked Gun 3. It was Naked Gun 2.5.
2.5.
Naked Gun 33 and a third. I mean, I love that little thing about it too. But yeah.
Have you watched From the Files of Police Squad as well? I've actually watched the show that was.
No, but I've never even actually looked for it. But yeah, I know it's the show that it came from. But
my stepdad owned it on DVD, so I watched some of it.
Yeah. So there you go. We're looking forward to that. Moving on over the weekend, a big music festival, and my wife was there, my future wife. She just doesn't know it yet. Coachella was over the weekend. Coachella was over the weekend, big, huge music festival. And for the first time in, I'm pretty sure, like 20 years, the last time they played together was Coachella.
Wait a minute.
What?
Can't be your wife.
Why? Because she's married to Blake Shelton? That doesn't matter.
No, because she's my wife, bitch.
Oh, someone I've always been obsessed with. But yeah, for the first time in like 20 years, No Doubt reunited at Coachella, and Gwen had to come out looking all No doubty.
No doubty. Yeah, I have
Looking-
had a crush on Gwen Stefani since 1995. Okay.
Me too. And mine was so severe that I kid you not, my daughter's mother would not let me watch No Doubt music videos. I could not listen to their music. I mean, to that extreme, which is stupid because I'm like, honey, really, if she shows up at the door, I would definitely leave with her. I don't know what to tell you, but it's not gonna happen. I got a better chance of winning the lottery. Like, it's not gonna happen.
I might not have known the term at the time, but when I was married, my wife knew that Gwen Stefani was my hall pass. Okay, I may not have known the term when I was married.
Definitely would have been my hall pass
was my
for sure.
Hall pass, 100%.
Yeah,
and I don't think a lot of people realize this because Gwen Stefani is not she's not your typical beautiful woman that a lot of people would,
No, but that's when No Doubt came out.
Stefani.
I mean, she is beautiful, but that's one of the things that attracted to me. She wasn't the lead singer of a girl group or whatever you want to say. Like, she was the lead singer of this band that was right at the height of this kind of music, and
it was like
she was hot too.
Band and I became
a fan
of that type of music because of No Doubt.
Right, and then when you find out the backstory, of course, she was not the original lead singer of No Doubt. Yeah, and all that behind it. But they got back together at Coachella. There was another cool moment that I didn't do a graphic for, but Sublime performed, and of course their lead singer passed away. Too. But their son, the son of the lead singer, performed with Sublime.
I did not know that. That's
cool. You can look up a video. Jacob Noel, who's Bradley's son, because Bradley, of course, passed away.
I never thought want to go to Coachella.
Performed with him.
Kind of sad to go to Coachella.
But yeah, he performed and he used his dad's guitar. He sounded really good. You missed it, man, because apparently this is what's going to make me sound old, because apparently Ice Spice's performance is being talked about. Someone asked me the other day if I knew who that was at work, and I'm like, no, I don't know who that is. I thought she was a Spice Girl the first time I heard her name. I just knew she was setting at the Super Bowl. Like, I don't know. I know her from the Dunkin' commercial. That's her in that one commercial, right? Ice Spice and the donuts, coffee. I think that's her, but whatever. So you missed Ice Spice. But yeah, it would have been cool to see Sublime. They looked really old though. Like, it looked like Jacob was playing with his grandfathers. They're actually his uncles.
Gwen, she's still looking damn good.
She does. She still looks like she did back then. So that was cool to see. And listen, I have some of the video, and you can say what you want because I know they're all professionals, but they literally have not performed together in like 20 years. And obviously they rehearsed, but it sounded amazing. Like, it sounded like No Doubt from back then. So good time.
Shelton, she's my love of my life.
Somebody came up, and I don't even want to try to remember who it was, but someone came up and sung Spiderwebs with her, but it was something I didn't know. I want to say her name was like Olivia something, but I don't know who she was because I don't listen to new music, so I'm
guessing Olivia Rodrigo, if it's Olivia.
That might be who it was, but somebody like that came up and did. Does she have dark hair?
I don't know her that well. It's not like
me neither, but anyway.
I know the woman, and she sings a song called Vampire. I think it's
somebody came up and did Spiderweb with her, and that was another little cool moment for her. So, there you go. But I will be marrying Wim before you do, buddy. Okay.
Oh my gosh, we will fight.
And I just feel like
the show is over because the both hosts are the fight to the death.
They've
over Gwen Stefani.
All I got to say to that is, Timmy. If she looks like that now,
sorry.
I feel like she'll still look like that when she's like 70 because she still looks like that now. I just feel like she's always going to look like that. I don't know. But there you go. Great moment. All right, moving on. It's got to be something you're excited about too, right? This casting news for Sonic. How do you feel about it? We have our Shadow.
You know what? I'm fine with it.
Damn right you are, because John Wick can do whatever he wants. All right, and if John Wick wants to be Shadow, then he's gonna fuck. That's right, folks. Because listen, as much as I love,
you take Neo's name out of your mouth like that.
See, here's where we have the conflict.
Not save the Matrix to be called John Wick now.
Have we never had this discussion? Maybe I should go back now, but I would never call him that because I tried to watch the first Matrix and didn't finish it. So it was not my thing.
Trying to take my woman and you don't like the Matrix? Fuck you.
Maybe all these years later, maybe if I went back and watched it, I would. But back then when I tried, and I never went back to try to watch him again. I tried to watch the first one and I liked Keanu, and I'm like, this is not my thing. So He's either going to be John Wick or we're getting in the phone booth and we're going to travel and we're going to be Bill and Ted. Yeah, it's not no Matrix here, buddy. We can do some Point
I'm
Breaking if you
fuming
want.
right now. You're trying to take my woman. You're
Hey,
trying to
you've
tell me
never
to
seen
do it like
Airplane.
the Matrix.
You've never seen
Yeah,
Airplane,
but
so
I regret that decision. I didn't actively watch Airplane and was like, "This is not good."
Anyway,
These are
you can't.
fighting words.
Don't hate. Anyway, yes, Keanu
I'm
is
not
going to
the
be
one
Shadow.
hating here.
Not only is Keanu going to be Shadow, but the retired famous actor Jim Carrey is going to come back again,
I know.
retired, because he loves this role. So there you go, Keanu as Shadow.
Look, I'm excited
Anyway.
about this because I've loved. In fairness, I would have never thought Idris Elba was the right choice for Knuckles, and he is great. And I'm looking forward to this series. So
I'm looking forward to the series too. And to be honest, when the Sonic movie first came out, I kind of thought I probably wouldn't like it. Not because I'm a big kid, not because of that. It's just we all know how video game movies can go. Those Sonic movies are good. Jim Carrey's perfect casting. Like, come on, those Sonic movies are great.
The last 5 years, I would say, has essentially done what MCU did for comic book movies. Like video game movies and shows have become a thing. The Last of Us, fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, they're definitely getting better.
I've heard nothing but good things from the Fallout show.
Yeah, look, when I watch it, I haven't watched it yet, but we're going to talk about it for sure once I get to check it out because it's got a lot of chatter. There's a little talk about Fallout.
Yeah. I don't
Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal was real fun.
I don't have a real good one.
Prime, so I got to get Amazon Prime before I can watch the Fallout show. But I want to see the Fallout show. Really bad. I think I'm gonna wait to get Amazon Prime and get it in July when The Boys comes back, season 4. That's just my plan in my head right now.
There you go. I have it all the time, but I also do a lot of shopping on there, so it's worth it for me to have it. But anyway,
the Halo show is pretty decent. I like the Halo.
I heard it was.
Show.
I haven't seen it, but
that one. Like,
it has definitely gotten better.
Yeah, and you know what? As far back as I liked the Assassin's Creed movie. A lot of people didn't seem to like it, but I actually enjoyed the Assassin's Creed.
Love the game. Never seen the movie. Big Assassin's Creed player. Like I have a ton of the games.
One of my
It's
probably my favorite series of all time, to be honest.
The movie didn't. I didn't think it looked bad. It just didn't really appeal to me. I don't know. I didn't want to. My expectations probably would have been too much. I don't know. But I love the game. That's one of my favorite. Believe it or not, a huge Assassin's Creed fan. Huge.
The movie was decent. I liked it.
Okay, well, I might check it out.
Although I haven't watched it in a while, but yeah. So I mean,
but they are getting better. To your point, they're getting way better than they were.
These are not what they used to be. The Super Mario Brothers movie was pretty good.
Haven't watched it yet. Oh, dude, that was great.
That was great.
But let's be honest, I don't know if I would have watched that if it wouldn't have been for Ryan Reynolds. So I got to be, honest on that one.
I don't know because
I wasn't a big Pokemon.
That was that it was going to be Danny DeVito, and I would have been down for that too.
Probably, yeah, because I just wasn't a big, Pokemon guy, so I wouldn't. Without the right casting, I probably wouldn't have watched that. But anyway, to your point, though, they are getting better. I think this will be good. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to Knuckles 2, which is right around the corner. So there you go. The next thing we're going to talk about is something you showed me because I am not. We all know, and if you don't know, you don't listen to our show enough. But this man is a faithful to SNL. I'm not hating on that. I don't watch it as much as he does, but he sent me a skit that's now blowing up social media. I never thought Ryan Gosling would perform what is now one of my favorite SNL skits. Because I think it's that good. The more I see Ryan
Gosling, the more I'm starting to think I might like Ryan Gosling. I mean, the Barbie movie was great. I kind of want to see this Fall Guys movie, and this isn't the first time he's been on SNL and been pretty funny.
Right.
But yes, you're right. I watch Saturday Night Live religiously, and I so much so that I would love if I could get me a co-host to start a podcast where I start from episode 1 in 1975 of Saturday Night Live, do kind of like what we do with this show, watch skit by skit and break them down from the beginning. That is a dream. That is a podcast I'd love to start, but as of right now, haven't found someone that would be interested in doing that. It's quite the ordeal, I suppose. So,
Quite the ordeal.
so
Yeah.
But anyways, we don't have the whole skit, but there was a skit that we're gonna watch this quick clip of, and here we go. I swear, there is no way. Heidi Gardner very rarely breaks. Heidi Gardner is the one that was interviewing the woman. She hardly breaks, and if you don't know what that is, that's laugh. Hardly laughs when she's not supposed to in a sketch. Yeah. It's called breaking.
Those are my favorite moments in any SNLs, or when
it depends.
Actors
sometimes
just can't
it gets
help.
ridiculous. I love Jimmy Fallon, but sometimes him and Horatio Sanz used to break way too much.
Way too much. It could be it could be too much, but it's not like that was just a natural, like, I can't.
Heidi doesn't break. There is no way that woman ever saw those prosthetics on.
I think it was. It was. Yeah.
There's no way that that she had seen those prosthetics before.
Nope.
And that was her first time looking at them in full. I'm guessing they did a dress rehearsal and they just wore the shirt. And they didn't have, like, I'm sure the gums.
They had none of the. They probably had none of the prosthetics on. I bet none of it. You know, I think it was just the outfit.
Yeah, I think it was the gums that did it, because she kind of broke a little bit when she saw Beavis, and it was just the hair. But I think it was the gums, and I think he was doing like a really goofy face when she turned.
He was. You could tell.
I think he was just really trying to fuck with her, and it was hilarious.
It was great.
The thing is like, the sketch is kind of dumb, and it's not the best sketch in the world, but the fact that it made her, like, it made it great. It made it great.
Yeah,
it was a good episode. There was a lot. Ryan Gosling can't keep a straight face. He's laughing through the whole episode. But it was a fun episode. I really enjoyed it. There was a fun bit on Weekend Update where, so in the last couple episodes, what's his name? Michael Che. In the last couple episodes, Michael Che on the update desk has done nothing but make jokes about women's college basketball, and he had like a joke about talking about how there was a bunch of bars that were showing the WNBA March Madness, or I guess it wasn't WNBA, but the March Madness women's college basketball tournament. Those bars are called the empty ones collectively.
I mean,
and then he made, even on that show, he made fun of Caitlin Clark. And then the next thing you know, Caitlin Clark showed up and she wrote his jokes for him, and it was just like, there was one. She's like, "I've got 3 tips for you, Michael Che." And he's like, "Okay, what is that?" "Well, just read them for me." And it was, "Be funnier, dumbass." Those were her 3 points. And it was a funny skit. It was good. It was good. It was just funny to see Michael Che just eat his words and stuff.
Good times.
But yeah, it was a good SNL. Good SNL.
Well, that's good. Well, we're going to go from funny to kind of sad. It's not sad. I sent you a photo. I wanted to address this last week, but again, we were trying to squeeze in all the WrestleMania stuff, just trying to get an episode out because you had to work. But I did watch. Now, there was a lot of Bray references during Mania. Of course, his dad went into the Hall of Fame with Barry Windham, and they had a whole moment with the Firefly. But I watched the Bray documentary and had to get the tissues out. And at WrestleMania, they revealed we were going to get the Fiend back, which we talked on the podcast, and that's where we were going to go eventually. And this was the design for the new Fiend. I couldn't get a good shot with the lantern in too, but the lantern has those teeth just like that new mask does. It has the sharp teeth.
Yeah.
The back of his mask, that's actually that face. They actually did a sculpt of JoJo's face. So that's actually his wife's face that baby doll mask was actually made
Oh.
from a sculpt of JoJo's face. And then something I never noticed before until I saw it during WrestleMania. They showed on the documentary too, but Bray used to have, I thought it was just random like stuff when he was the Fiend on his pants and things like that. But he put like his kids' birthday dates and their names and stuff would be on his gear, and you just never noticed it because of the way it was. And in his mask, I never knew this. In the Fiend mask, I'd have to go back and watch. I believe it's the ages of his children or maybe their birth year, but the stitches actually are not just stitches, they are a year when you look at the stitches and the Fiend masks. Like some crazy stuff I just never noticed before. But this is the Fiend that we were going to get. Bray did the back of the mask because he was going to stop doing the spider crawl this way for whatever reason. Maybe it was just getting to him, or maybe he thought he needed a change. So he wanted something to make it cool when he was, going this way towards somebody instead of doing the back crawl. And that's where that came from.
Yeah.
But on the other hand of this, even though it was very sad at the end of the documentary, they definitely teased Uncle Howdy. So it looks like you can believe again, but it's going to be in a dark way. And we're getting teasers again. It's Bray Wyatt all over again. We are getting QR codes. We're getting breaks into the show.
Yeah, I saw one during New Day, during Raw.
Yeah.
New Day.
Yeah, so it looks like the Wyatt family will be coming back. And I'm interested to see what he'll end up doing with the character. As far as I'm sure most people wouldn't want to see Bo become the Fiend. But
no,
what's he going to do with the Uncle Howdy character will be interesting to see.
What I'd like to see is nobody's the Fiend. The Fiend is the rocking chair. And
right. He's like the leader, but he's not with us, but he's there. I still would like him to be the Wyatt. I don't want anybody to be the Fiend, but they can be the Wyatt family or the Wyatt Six, which was going to be the group or whatever. I still want it to be the Fiend's group, even though the Fiend's not with us. And an interesting side note, Eric Rowan, he goes by Eric Redbeard now, has canceled all his independent scheduled dates, saying that he has signed not with who, just saying that he can no longer perform in the Indies because he has a contract deal. So it's possible he is coming back, which would totally make sense if they're going to do this group. Braun Strowman would also make sense. I don't know if Braun's injured right now or why Braun's not around, but he would also make sense. And of course, Alexa
Bliss
would make sense. Yeah. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, there you go. That was going to be the Fiend's new attire. You notice there's claws on the one hand. He's got like claws on the one glove there. That would have been.
I think it'd be cool if like maybe they had the Fiend Max on the rocking chair, like just propped up on the rocking chair and like do things and just like keep the Fiend there in our hearts and our minds, but nobody should be the Fiend.
No,
all new characters, like essentially. I mean, let's face it. I mean, and I feel like Bray would be cool with all of this, but make it like, I mean, essentially you do cult, so you kind of mix the Wyatt family with the
Fiend, exactly. I see it as
like a cult of Bray, which would be, I think, really cool.
Exactly. I think that's the direction you got to go, and I love too that. And again, he's gone now, so it doesn't matter. But I love under the new era, under Triple H and everything. I love that they let Bo Dallas have the time he needed, to
grieve,
to mourn, and to get Like we're gonna do this on your time. We don't have to rush this. And I do believe next year's when Bray's gonna go into the Hall of Fame. I don't know why it didn't happen this year. Get that Wyatt didn't happen, but we still got Wyndham and Rotunda in the Hall of Fame. It just wasn't Wyndham Rotunda, but we got Man Rotunda. So it was close, right? It was there. So there you go. All right. Moving along. Did you watch any of Raw? I got a little sad. I cried a little bit.
I watched all of Raw.
Me too, by the way.
Ish. I guess.
I know, but come on, wrestling is good again. I have watched every episode of Raw and SmackDown since WrestleMania.
So have I.
Because I've been interested. I will say on a quick side note, not to deep dive, I love him to death, but let's cut back on the Cody promos. WrestleMania is over. If you just throw them out there with, dude, not every show every week. People are going to get tired. There's already people bitching online. You don't want them on every show every week cutting the same promo. I'm just saying, I love Cody to death, but if you want him on TV, have a match or something, but these 20, 30-minute promos every show, people aren't going to want that all the time. It's fine right away because he's fresh off Mania, but
I think
yeah.
they keep it. I think they keep it up until the draft, and then he gets.
And
put
they
on
might.
an actual show.
And they might because he's going to get put on SmackDown. So they might keep it up till the draft. But yeah, I see him on SmackDown because that's where the title came from. You did notice, I'm sure, on Raw too, that they didn't call it the Universal title anymore. They haven't changed the belt itself.
Undisputed.
The belt still is Universal, but yeah. But this is what was sad. Apparently, Rhea was legit injured in that backstage segment with Liv. But I love just like they did with Drew and Punk, though. I love that they're going to play off of it. Liv played off of it like she made these comments like, bad, I didn't mean to hurt her. So they're going to play like Liv hurt her. But unfortunately, Rhea had to vacate the title. Very sad. They're going to crown a new champ next week. I was surprised they're doing it that quick.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I feel like
nothing else was said
after the draft, but whatever.
Not only that, why wouldn't you have like a tournament or I feel like it's going to be in like a gauntlet match or a 6-pack challenge. I don't know how they're going to do it because they didn't say. All they said is we're going to have a new champ next week. So, but that's unfortunate. I mean, I think it would make sense to put it on Liv, right? And then when Rhea comes back, she goes after Liv. I mean, it seems to make sense.
That's probably what they'll do. They'll probably have her win
whatever happens. So that'll be next week already. But yeah, that was sad. It's always sucks when they get injured and they have to. You don't see it very often. Really, if you think about it, you don't see a title vacated very often. So it sucks when it happens. But come back stronger, mommy, and just take your title back. It's a bummer though, man, because I'm wondering how long her reign was going to be. You know what I mean? Was she going to be the female Roman? Was she going to have I don't think she would have had a 4-year run. Could have seen her having it until next year's WrestleMania again. I could have seen her going another year. So sad to see that.
Do you know how long she's supposed to be out?
I do not know. They might have released something today. I didn't check again, but yeah, I don't know how long she's going to be out right now. I would hopefully by SummerSlam.
It's what sucks is they're playing that they played it up that she's going to be gone. She's in a storyline where she could still be there with the Judgment Day if she, unless she wants to just take the time to rest.
Well, yeah, but if it's something that requires surgery and rehab and all that, then you can't really be on TV right away. You know what I mean? You got to take some time off. So who knows? Some healing time. But
she's at a storyline where I think just being part of the Judgment Day would be perfect.
She might still make some appearances. You never know. Yeah, you can always find a way to do it. You can always find a way to keep them, on TV. I remember doing it with Randy Orton way back in the day when he first came in because he got hurt. He had to have surgery, and he kept giving updates every week on these vignettes about how he was feeling and shit. It was good stuff. Classic heel shit. We got a return Monday night, and not only did we get a return, we got a return with the proper music that never should have been taken away in the first place. A little bit of a remix, but Sheamus returned. I want to say this right now to all you internet trolls who, by the way, are probably living in your mom's basement and playing Dungeons and Dragons anyway. Fuck you for body shaming Sheamus. Who cares if he doesn't look like he did when he left? I bet he could still whoop your ass with one hand behind his back. People are. If you pull up a picture from 5 years ago when he was younger, he was more jacked. Look how thick that man is. Go in the ring with him. Don't body shame Sheamus. Fuck you. Are you a pro wrestler?
Don't fuck with the Celtic Warrior. I mean, shit.
Not only that.
Slaughter you.
Motherfuckers. Yeah, let him give you a brogue kick. See if you get up from that. Not only the pop was huge, but he did get his music back. They remixed it a little bit. But when I saw Raw, the crowd was so loud that you almost couldn't hear the music. Yeah, but he does have his old entrance music back. Changed the gear up a little bit to like the longer kind of half trunks instead of just tights, and he got a victory. So it's good to see Sheamus back. Fuck you, body shamers. You don't know the story behind it. Everybody's like, did they bring him back too soon? He's not in shape. Most wrestlers leave and come back looking jacked. Like, whatever. Get out of here. I don't see you in there doing it.
I hate everyone.
I hate all body shamers. I hate them all. They did it to Jericho when he first got in AEW. Come on, man. Who cares? I don't see you a professional wrestler. The man doesn't have to look like that at the time. All right, we got something else to talk about that I personally was so excited about. Thank you, Triple H, for getting rid of the American Gladiators tag team titles. And
look, I
look,
think we've talked about this, and I actually didn't hate those titles,
I hated them.
other than the fact that I wish they had a better color scheme. Put some silver or some gold on those instead of red and blue. Those were cool looking titles.
The plates for me didn't have I guess they were a little too generic for me. They kind of looked like they always kind of looked like wish belts. I didn't mind the silver plates. I'm all about every belt doesn't have to be gold, you know.
Oh,
but it was just kind of
I'm talking about
plain to me.
They did red and
you didn't like the straps. I'm saying I thought the plates were too boring.
They had the straps. I saw them the other day. Even the part that should have been gold was also red. They had a whole red themed, and I think they would look good.
Are you? But are you talking about just the belt strap itself?
No, I'm talking about the big metal thing on the front with the.
The plate was just silver. It's always been silver.
Spartan.
Yeah.
Could have swore it was red.
No, it's silver. The straps are red. The SmackDown was blue, and Raw was red. But the plates themselves are just silver or platinum or whatever they're supposed to be. Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and. But these bad boys here, these new tag titles are beautiful. We have side plates that are removable. The one I found awkward on Raw was R-Truth tried to be funny during the belt presentation, and nobody was laughing. He tried to do his, typical R-Truth. We all love him, but yeah, it didn't go well. No one liked that whole.
Good looking. There's some good looking belts though.
I assume the SmackDown titles are gonna, because people were trying to say the belts don't all look the same. This does not look exactly like the World Heavyweight title. It has a similar center plate there in the middle where the W is, but that's a beautiful belt. It's got those bird lions on the side. I love the thing. And next week, those titles are on the line. Same show when we find out who the new woman's champion is. R-Truth and The Miz are defending against DIY. At least I hope it's DIY and not Triple H and Shawn Michaels, because you never know which ones are in the. You've seen all that. Did you see the skit where R-Truth stood up at Shawn Michaels' office, but he was talking to him and thought he was Gargano. He was talking like he was Gargano, but it was Shawn Michaels. It's this whole. That's why DIY dressed like DX at WrestleMania, because there's been this whole joke about R-Truth is getting confused between the actual DX and DIY and who's who. It's a whole thing. So,
okay.
So there you go. The new tag titles on
right.
Raw.
I'm crazy.
Sometimes we're all a little crazy. We have our one more thing. I just want to try to wrap up a few other things because so much has been going on. If you watched Friday, we got a new member of the Bloodline, and old Jimmy got took out by Solo. A lot of people are already thinking it, and I can see this happening too, that we are going to end up with two Bloodlines.
Yeah,
and
like
believe that
situation.
Yeah, and many believe that like Solo and Tom, if they're going to call him Tamatonga, I don't know, but it's Haku's son. For those of you who remember Haku, many believe those two are with the Rock, and that's why they kept Paul Heyman from trying to call Roman Reigns, because they kept saying tribal chief's orders, but Paul Heyman was scared to death, and they wouldn't let him call Roman. So a lot of people feel like we're going to have a Rock, and let me tell you what. Imagine Rock's bloodline being bad, and Roman coming back with the Usos. Roman's going to be Hulk Hogan.
Absolutely.
Like, boom. So that's where a lot of people think it could go. I could see that happening.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely. And real quick, I don't know if you got to see this, but everybody look this video up if you didn't get to see it. But this is a video from WrestleMania 40, and Jey Uso is on the ramp entrance. They're out there checking out the arena with his son, and out of nowhere, he super kicked his son, and super kicked him hard enough he knocked his son's glasses off, and his son no-sold that shit. It was one of the things just made me laugh. Like, you could hear the super kick, his glasses went flying, and his son was just like, didn't fall or nothing. He didn't sell for dad at all. It's just kind of funny. I just thought it was kind of hilarious. It looked like a really good kick, and his son just stood there like, whatever, dad. Anyway, there you go. I think we only got one thing left. Did I miss anything?
We have one thing
I don't think so. We have one thing left. One of our favorite things, and it's that time. It's time for the Chic Tweet of the Week.
Chic Tweet.
Chic. I'm trying to pull it up. I vaguely remember which one I picked. I know which one I picked now. Another reference to a old rock and roll song, but I don't remember these lyrics. Maybe I'm wrong. We built this city on rock and roll and beating the fuck out of Hulk Hogan. We built this city
on rock and roll and beating the fuck
out of
out
Hulk
of
Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Oh, look, he's right. It does go with it. I guess that was the lyrics. I just don't remember them. Wow. Huh.
I mean,
Well,
I,
yeah.
I got you.
I knew you'd remember it because, fuck Hulk Hogan. So, there you go.
I feel like Chic Tweet has just
yeah.
now become me singing the Chic Tweet of the week.
It has because we've had quite a few musical references, so but I like to try to, mix it up. I deep dive into those.
I'm down. I'm enjoying this. It's
Oh,
really
yeah.
fun to try to get the right musical.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's fun to and we're I'm gonna be sharing some too, though, by the way, that are new, and it's his family doing them, but they're it doesn't matter to me. It's still the Sheik, you know what I mean? Because there's some of these new ones that the family are doing that are hilarious, so you can definitely tell. So to me, if it's on the Sheik's page, it's the Sheik's tweet. So I just wanted to share that. Right. But this is an older one, so
I think
there you go. Yeah. So all right. Well, there you go. We did our opening. We made it through, and now we are getting ready to watch St. Valentine's Day Massacre from 1999. And by the way, if the podcast gods are on our side and we record next week, we're gonna have a WrestleMania. We're moving right along, man. That's what's after this, WrestleMania.
All righty then.
So, all right. Well, let's do it. All right, so here we go. It's St. Valentine's Day Massacre, February 14th, 1999. It takes place at the Memphis Pyramid in Memphis, Tennessee. 19,028 fans. And of course, I sent you another picture I said we'd be sharing, and that's because this is what the pyramid looks like now. The pyramid closed due to financial struggles, set empty for a few years, and then was bought by Bass Pro Shops.
Oh, gosh.
This fucking arena is now the largest Bass Pro Shop in the world. So if you're ever on the road to Memphis, Tennessee, and if you don't normally watch along with us, just go watch this. Just watch the first match. Look at that crowd. Look inside there. And of course, there is obviously more than just an arena in this building. And realize that it is now a fucking Bass Pro Shop. How's that for a little bit? I knew about this building because I'm a nerd and I watch shit I don't need to watch, but I had no idea. I did not remember they held a pay-per-view inside of the pyramid in Memphis, Tennessee. So there you go. Road trip. Not really. I mean, I would just because I bet it's amazing. I'm not a Bass Pro Shop guy, but I'm sure that has to be amazing inside that building. I mean,
we'd go in there and be like, "Sir, can we help you?" No, we don't give a shit about your fish shit. But
the reason I'm at your
there's a pay-per-view here once.
I don't want to fish. I'm at your store because Mr. McMahon fought Stone Cold Steve Austin in a cage in the fucking fishing department. Right here. Stone Cold bled right over there in the fucking hunting gear. Right over there. So there you go, Bass Pro Shop. Interesting, huh? By the way, this pay-per-view is right after the famous Mick Foley's going to win the title on that other show. That's going to put butts in seats. This is right after the Raw where Mick Foley won the world title thanks to Stone Cold Steve Austin. So that gives us a little bit more backstory. That's why we have Rock and Mankind Night for the title, and we got McMahon and Austin in a steel cage. So there's something else that happens on this. This, for some reason, feels like it's a pretty big show. So anyway, let's move on to our opening contest here. And
very large show. I'm sure.
It's
that way.
Kind of a giant show,
A giant show, yeah.
Big surprises can happen sometimes,
I'm going to need you to stop all the BS.
That's a good one. Damn, I hate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
He'll be here all week, folks. All right. Good one. God, I hate you. Why did I think of that? All right. And we have Jerry the King Lawler and Michael Cole on commentary. We got this really cool opening with some really old style music, and that's because Vince named this paper after the St. Valentine's Day Massacre of 1929, where it said that Al Cone's boys killed 7 of Bugs Marone's boys in a little massacre. So that's what this is named after. So we had kind of like a old gangster music kind of theme to start the pay-per-view. And
I don't know if gangster music was the right choice, but it was.
Well, I'm not talking
music from the 20s.
I'm talking about gangsters from the 20s too, though. I'm not talking like gangster rap like Tupac. I'm talking like
no. I'm aware of that, but the song was about being crazy for you or something. I wouldn't call that
Yeah,
gangster
well,
music. I'm not talking about gangster rap. I mean, like,
yeah.
for some reason, I
Tupac
don't.
would have worked better though. I don't know why we didn't. Anyway, you know. Wow, are you okay? It seems like your table swallowed your arm. Are you okay over there? I just want to make sure.
This happens.
Oh, okay, it's good. It's still it happens. Studio's looking amazing, by the way.
Oh, by the way, you got to see this? This is my new my mouse.
Oh, nice. Iron Man mouse. I dig it. I dig it. Uh, Speaking of mice, no, not really. But before we start the pay-per-view, I wanted to mention the dark matches. We did have a couple of dark matches that probably lasted longer than this kickoff match. But anyway, we had Too Much took on the Hardy Boys, and that was a fucking dark match, man.
We
But
just
we're
don't
gonna
get too
watch.
much at all.
But we're gonna watch what we just watched, but we don't get to see the Hardy Boys too much. That's fine. Viscera defeated the Boss Man, and Billy Gunn defeated Tiger Ali Singh. So there you go. There's your dark matches. In our opening contest, it was a battle of the dusts. No, not Stardust.
Oh man,
Blue Dust.
Blue Dust. I
And
forgot
Gold
all about
Dust.
Blue Dust.
I don't ever remember this. I remember the Blue Meanie being in WWE, but I don't remember him doing this Blue Dust thing.
Yeah, I don't
Gold,
remember either.
Gold Dust came out first, and then we had to watch this video, which was fine until we saw the Blue Meanie laid out like Jack in Titanic, and he was in a thong, and his body was painted completely blue. I didn't need to see that. But he came out to Gold Dust music. Heel 101, kids. You want to get some instant heat. Come out as your opponent's character and use their entrance music. That's
I just don't understand why they thought why someone saw Blue Dust and was like, you know what I want to make? Avatar.
okay. Here's something interesting. The Blue Dust character, because I told you I found a picture of him and it wasn't WWE, because he did this shit before he got in WWE. This is like indie scene stuff he was doing to make fun of Gold Dust. So I'm shocked they even let him do it in the WWE.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. That'd
But
be like
they
bringing
also
Blue Cane in.
they also let him do the BWO, which was something he was doing outside of WWE, and of course is a ripoff of not a ripoff, but we've had all these ever since NWO. You had the LWO, the BWO. You had all these other, So yeah, I was kind of shocked they let him do it, but this was it was fine. It was a fun opener. I saw way too much of Blue Dust ass. I could have lived without that because he's wearing this like onesie jumper airbrushed thing. I don't know. He had on legit wrestling shoes though. I don't know if you noticed that, but he had like, actual like mat wrestling with his jumper. It was a short match. Yeah, it was short. Goldust went for Shattered Dreams. He didn't get it. Blue Meanie went for a moonsault and missed it. Yeah, and then we got the curtain call. I think so. That's called right. Curtain call.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so. And that ended the match. So yeah, luckily it was quick. Listen, I thought Blue Meanie was always entertaining, but I don't remember. And like I would have rather saw the Hardys against Too Much. I'm just saying. I was never a big Blue Meanie fan, but to be fair, I don't remember a lot about the Blue Meanie. But I didn't watch ECW, and he was only in WWE for a little bit. So there you go. But that's our opener. Apparently they're in a feud, but I didn't really understand why they should have packaged. But other than it seems like Blue Dust is obsessed with Gold Dust, I guess. I don't know. It was short and sweet.
Do you need more of a reason?
Not really. It's Gold Dust. He's weird. Some other weirdos obsessed with him. Good enough for me. Yep. We're watching this, and I'm like, we got Goldust fighting Gilbert, and now he's fighting Blue Dust. That's why WCW is beating them. That's it right there. But this is actually where it starts turning the tide. The Mr. McMahon character helped WWE start winning again. So it's very interesting. I can't wait till we get into all that. Like we would have never had the Attitude Era if it wasn't for WCW, whether you believe that or not. Yeah. So I kind of can't wait till we get there so we can deep dive into the Monday Night Wars. Anyway, because this was a kickoff, this was fine. It was nothing over the top. It kind of felt like a Monday Night Raw or even worse, a Sunday Night Heat match. It was fine. There were no botches or nothing. It was just what it was. It was just whatever. I'm going to give this 2 dusts. A gold and a blue.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm going with 2 blue balls.
I asked him. I'm glad you just said that, so I remembered. He had Blue Meanie up for the Shattered Dreams after he won the match, and I said, so if he kicks him in or gives him the Shattered Dreams, does that mean he has white balls now? Because they got to already be blue, right? He's the Blue Meanie. He's got to have blue balls.
Right. Absolutely.
And again, it didn't get the 2 because it was a bad match. It's what it was. We've talked about these kind of matches before that don't even feel like a pay-per-view match. I could have watched that on Raw, SmackDown, Heat, Velocity, whatever. So
right.
It's fine. Not Goldust's fault. You'll always remember the name. Goldust. So now, if we want to see the ultimate grudge match, we have to get Blue Cane against Blue Dust. We have to make this happen. It's got to happen.
Fair enough.
I'm just saying. All right. Well, let's hope whatever's next is a little more something to talk about, because this was just, yeah.
Boomer, I feel like you're getting a little blue.
Blue. I am, but luckily, I know there's kind of a giant surprise later. So, yeah, I went back there.
Yeah.
I went back. I'm waiting for that giant surprise.
I told you to stop that BS. All right,
you did tell me to stop that BS. Let's do it. All right, so here we go now. This is more like it. Our next match, they tell us that the hardcore title was vacated by the Road Dogg due to an attack. So our next match, we get Al Snow. Head is not in this match, even though it is a hardcore match. We get Al Snow and Hardcore Holly for the Hardcore Championship. And at this time, Bob Holly just turned looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger compared to what he looked like before. And these guys both part of the Job Squad, but this was fun. I like me a good old hardcore battle.
They were everywhere.
You know what I'm saying?
They went in the river.
Literally everywhere. Out of the stadium, across the parking lot, and even down to the fucking river. There was a chair shot earlier on that made me cringe a little bit, just because, concussion, maybe not a good idea. But it was, not only did they go down by the river, it was just fun and creative, and you could tell some of this was just, oh look, I found a stick by the river. Let me use this motherfucker.
That stick dirty, hit the freaking camera.
yeah. Hardcore Holly went to hit Al Snow with a stick on his back, and when he hit him, the stick bounced off instead of breaking, and then hit the fucking cameraman.
Over the river and through the woods to hardcore match we go.
When they were fighting through the arena, they got to a spot that was obviously where they kept the janitor's equipment. There was 10 mops lined up, 10 wooden mops. Al Snow just starts breaking them fuckers off over Bob Holly's back. It was just fun. And guess what? Neither one of them bled, and it was still a great match. They didn't have to, because they didn't really do anything that required bleeding. And they said it was we're in Mississippi, and I believe they said it was 30 degrees outside, something like that. So that Mississippi River had to be cold as shit. And they were in the river. They both started fighting in the river. There was a tire laying there in the river, and started using the tire as a weapon. These guys gave zero fucks. Whatever they could find. There was a shoe in the woods, and they're like, yep, there's a weapon. Just fun chaos. This is, and I know they tried this with the 24/7 title, but it just, and that's because they named it that, but it just wasn't the same. And we didn't see anything else happen here. I was kind of waiting to see if someone was going to come beat Hardcore Holly that quick, because back in this day, the hardcore title changed sometime 3 or 4 times in a night. Sometimes it happened. And I can't wait to see Crash Holly defend the title in a a Chuck E. Cheese type place, and they fight in a ball pit. It's just good times. It's good times. But this one at the end, there was a roll of fencing, almost like chicken wire, out by the river. And Bob Holly unrolled it. Al Snow ended up there eventually. They were fighting back and forth. They were both trying to use this stuff, but it had gotten unrolled, and they were fighting back and forth. And Al Snow ends up on the chicken wire fencing, and Bob Holly rolls him up like a fucking burrito and pins him. And obviously, he can't kick out because he's like a flapping fish. So it was a creative finish. It was fun. They used their environment well. Oh, the good old days. You know what I mean? And again, and I only say that because another criticism of AEW has been they think they need blood all the time. To be more specific, fucking John Moxley thinks he has to bleed every time he steps into a ring. Like it makes him some kind of badass. I don't object to blood, but what I'm saying is it's not always necessary. And this was a hardcore match, but I didn't watch any part of this and go, wouldn't they be bleeding? You didn't need blood. Everything just looked like it hurt really fucking bad, but nothing looked like it was going to bust you open. And it was highly entertaining. It was just fun. It was hard to tell if the crowd's really into it, because I can tell you from experience, and you can listen to this in the archives, when you're at one of these pay-per-views and a match is taking place not in the arena, you're not enjoying it. You're watching it on the screen. It feels like the Boiler Room Brawl was one of the worst things to ever see live between The Undertaker and Mankind, because we had to watch that stuff in the arena. So I'm sure the fans weren't quite as into it as they could have been. But when Bahali, they apparently wanted him to come back in to get the belt, so he walked all the way back across. He's like running and shit, trying to get back to the arena. Like, it took as long as the match to get back to the fucking arena. But when he finally walked in there, everybody was cheering for him. And they actually mentioned during all this that he was trying to shed the image of Sparkplug Holly. Yeah, so which he does. He does very well. Hardcore Holly had a really good career, but this was way better than the opening match.
Oh yeah.
I also liked the fact that they were friends. They talked about this all the time. Friends on the same team together. They whooped the shit out of each other. It didn't matter. It was for that hardcore title. You may be my friend, but I'm kicking your ass, and I don't care. The finish, very creative. I don't ever remember seeing that. I'm gonna give this 3 heads.
I really enjoyed this match. I'm giving this 4 Job Squad Civil Wars.
Jobs, dude. Nice one. Got us a Civil War in the Squad. We think we're about to get to Civil War with the Bloodline too. Speaking of that, the Blue Meanie was also on the Job Squad. I don't know if he is at this time, but he was a Job Squad.
Just taking over this pay-per-view so far.
Dude, you thought the NWO was badass. You ain't seen nothing yet. You got the Job Squad, baby. And we got the corporate ministry too, which means Viscera and Midian. So we got that to look forward to. I believe both of them are on the show. We'll find out. But
did he say Viscera was in the dark match?
Oh yeah, Viscera fought in the dark match. That's right. But I do know Midian is in the next match because I did some peeking.
Okay.
So we get some Midian next. Looking forward to that.
All right. Well, look forward no longer. Let's start.
Let's do it. All right. Well, kids, there's a saying that says they can't all be winners. And so now we were at a point where we have the corporation, which we've seen already with this whole Stone Cold story, and now we have the Ministry of Darkness. So we're gonna have us a little battle, and representing the corporation is the enforcer, the security guy, the big boss man taking on Midian, aka I forget what that wasn't Henry. He was the other Phineas. The old Phineas Godwin is now Midian. And nobody cared.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cared. There was literally boring chants during the match. Nobody cared. Nothing against either one of them. I just it was another one of the look at the Ministry of Darkness when they came out. You have the Acolytes, Edge, Christian, Gangrel. You put Midian out there. I'm not trying to knock Midian, but I just don't think he was the big enough. Boss Man's been there for a long time. I just think Midian was the wrong choice. I don't think the fans were quite behind Midian. They hated Boss Man, but I don't think they were enough behind Midian to really care about the match.
Right.
My
yeah,
opinion,
you had the Brood available. Although, let's face
Yeah.
it, I mean, we could have the Brood and APA later in another match. So
Yeah. To be fair, you could, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think Viscera would even though he's not a great wrestler, I think Viscera would have been a better choice as far as maybe getting heat or something to the match other than the boring chant. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the rest of the card is, so we could get.
I don't either.
We could get better options, or you could have done. You had the Brood there. You could have Edge or Gangrel do it.
I would say Gangrel could have did it. I mean, I just think it was the wrong person for the match, and he come out in his spray painted, airbrushed, but the Confederate flag tattoo still sticking out like a sore thumb right there. But there you go. Another, it was what it was. And again, this is another part of wrestling, right? The match itself was fine, I guess, but the crowd's a big part of wrestling, and the crowd didn't care, and it went from being quiet to boring chants. That's the last thing you want. It's another match you could have watched on Monday Night Raw, probably more like Sunday Night Heat for sure. Shotgun Saturday Night. I don't know.
Yeah,
it was not great.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be generous, and I'll give it 2 nightstick shots to the face. 2's kind of generous. But again, it wasn't really a horrible match. It was boring.
which is bad. So I'm going to go with how many Godwins was in that ring? 1.5.
How many Godwins was in that ring? Who's the half Godwin? I don't know.
I don't know.
Is Boss Man related? Boss Man's related?
He has his brother on one of those tattoos somewhere, so 1.5.
Probably. That's definitely a possibility. It really is.
Yep.
All right, well there you go. There's another stinker for this pay-per-view, but that's okay. That's okay. Maybe it's going bad, good, bad, good. You know? You never know.
Maybe. We'll
Maybe.
see.
That's totally a possibility. Let's see what's next. Not much more to say here. Oh, we forgot. I guess we got to see the whole ministry. And they took the Boss Man away.
There's
We
a
don't know
lot
where
of
they took him.
ministry.
But the whole ministry came out and they carried the Boss Man away. Undertaker even came out to watch them beat up Boss Man and carry him away. So Boss Man kidnapped by the ministry. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Well, they wanted a souvenir, Boomer. They wanted a souvenir, and they brought the souvenir home.
We haven't even got to the tip of the crazy shit the ministry's about to do.
Just the tip.
Nothing like good old crucifixions on TV. Anyway.
Oh, I know. I remember that.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, let's move on.
Let's move on. All right, so here we go. And our next match is for the WWF Tag Team titles, and it is D'Lo Brown and officially Sexual Chocolate Mark Henry, because we got the music this time. We got the Sexual Chocolate entrance music, which I kind of feel like should be the new Sexual Chocolate. That's just what I feel. I think that you could carry that on.
I'm not chocolate. I'd be sexual white chocolate. Sexual white chocolate. Okay. Yeah, that's right.
And Mark Henry and D'Lo actually had Ivory with them. So they have the Sexual Chocolate music. They have Ivory with them. They're both wearing kind of nation domination gear, but they're working on it. And their opponents are Owen Hart and fucking JEFFJERRE Jeff Jarrett with Deborah and the puppies. The puppies also came. I think Ivory had a couple of puppies of her own, I believe. As well. But good tag team match with all the stuff you would expect. I was actually shocked that there weren't more shenanigans out of the ladies. They kind of behaved themselves till the end of the match.
Till the end.
But I kind of expected it to happen earlier than that. Mark Henry was wearing a very serious knee brace, so I'm assuming, of course, they're using it as a work, but I'm assuming he probably had an actual injury at this time, because that was like a decorative knee brace he had on. That was some serious shizzle there, if you know what I'm saying. But this was a good tag team match. I enjoyed it. 4 men very capable of performing. Doing this podcast always can change our perspectives, which we've talked about before. And I never hated D'Lo, but I've already said how much more appreciation I have for D'Lo now, going back and watching. And I don't think it was because I didn't like D'Lo, but at this time there's so many stars. I'm watching The Rock. I'm watching Austin. I'm paying attention to that. Some of the mid card guys just got lost in the shuffle, so I just don't think I appreciated D'Lo as much as I should have back then. Because again, like you pointed out, one of the best things he does is that leg drop. That standing leg drop's just beautiful. That looks better than Hogan's leg drop. And I know Hogan doesn't just
100%
leg drop. I think it might even be better than Taker's. And Taker does a pretty damn good leg drop. It's just something about doing it from that standing position that makes it so
It's probably my favorite leg drop of all time.
Yeah. I mean, it's something
really
about
cool. It's a snap leg drop. It's different. It's unique.
And he does it perfect, like every time. I'm pretty sure this didn't break down to the end. The end is where all the chaos started. We got Deborah up on the apron teasing us that we're going to see her boobs. We're not going to see her boobs, but whatever, Deborah, you hoe. And chaos.
Let's not slut shame.
We won't slut shame. Now you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure. So we're in the middle of chaos, all right. And I don't remember if Jeff or Owen were the legal guys, but I know D'Lo was the legal man. D'Lo was legal. But all this chaos breaks up. He goes up to do a frog splash. That's when Deborah starts doing all her,
Right.
And then here comes Ivory. D'Lo ends up down on the floor. And while all this is going on, the ref's distracted. Jarrett takes the guitar and busts Mark Henry's knee with it. Actually, Owen might have did the chair shot. No, Deborah did. Deborah did the chair shot, right? Or did Deborah just...
No, Owen was distracted. Or Owen did the chair shot.
Did the guitar shot. I
Or
keep
the
saying
guitar. Yeah, Owen with the guitar shot. Deborah
to
and
the knee.
Deborah was distracting the ref.
Right, and D'Lo and Owen ended up outside, and then Jarrett made the pin, a submission, got the figure 4. Point being, Mark Henry wasn't the legal man, but the ref lost track of everything during the chaos. But I'm pretty sure Mark Henry was not legal. I'm pretty sure D'Lo was the legal man. But they're with the chair, the dastardly chair. I also found it great that Jarrett was getting booed, and they're in his fucking hometown. Even heels, most wrestlers get cheered in their hometown. Not when you're fucking Jeff Jarrett, baby. You're
That's
a heat
right.
magnet. You're a magnet just because you're Jeff Jarrett. I mean, by the way, I'm the perfect example of exactly what he was going for, except I hate him for different reasons. But that's what Jarrett wanted. Like, I remember an interview when someone asked him about his original WWF outfit, all the light up shit and all that. He was like, he said to the interviewer, "Didn't you hate that shit?" And the interviewer goes, "Yeah." And he's like, "Exactly. That's why I wore it. It was instant heat. I came out in that fucking flashing outfit, and people were like, 'Look at this asshole.'" Yeah. Instant heat. But overall, a good match. A little bit of chaos at the end, but that's what makes these tag team matches fun. Almost makes it feel like this rivalry may not be over yet. And they teased us a little bit with Jacqueline and Deborah, but I don't ever remember. I could be wrong. I don't think Deborah McMichael ever had an actual wrestling match. I'm sure she was in some brawl and panties matches.
Probably.
And of course, her jacket got ripped off, and Jeff Jarrett used the tag titles to cover the puppies because that's what she needed. Because those are some big dogs. You know what I'm saying? The puppies are big. You need tag titles to cover them bad boys.
That's right.
Fun, entertaining, classic tag team match. Good ending. I'm gonna give this. 3.5 puppies.
I'm gonna give this 3.5 sexual white chocolates.
Sexual white chocolate. I like it.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure we're going from sexual chocolate to a porn star. That's why the WWF was great in the 90s, kids.
I mean, let's be honest. Ivory and Deborah weren't already practically porn stars, but I digress. Let's go.
Deborah was a puppy salesman, okay? But
All right.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Excuse me.
All right, so here we go. Our next contest is for the Intercontinental title, but it's about a little more than the title, because I'll tell you what, if I had a porn star fucking with my sister, I'd be pissed off too. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I get it. So the story is Val is having relations with Shamrock's sister, Ryan Shamrock, who's not really his sister. And they're battling the Intercontinental title with the star of the match as the referee, badass Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn, look, this is a great story to have, great wrestling match between two badass athletes, but Billy Gunn was the star of this match. And he was being...
I spelled Val Venus wrong.
Did you spell penis? Oh.
No, I put a C instead of a V.
Cal Venus? Oh.
Cal Venus.
And the great part, we were both actually talking during this match, because immediately I thought Billy, if he was going to be dirty ref, he was going to do it to Shamrock, but he was doing it to both of them. Like, his counts were like tortoise slow.
Yeah, he was just fucking with them both.
Yeah, fucking with them both. But the problem with Shamrock is the one that was taking it more seriously. It didn't seem to be bothering Val as much. Val was just kind of
a little bit at the beginning.
A little bit at the beginning, but it was a back and forth match where both guys had a pretty good chunk where they were kicking each other's ass. When we got towards the end of the match, though, Sis helped out Val. Sis wasn't trying to help out Ken; she was trying to help Val out. A little dirty.
I don't really think she hid her loyalties at all.
No, she did not. No, and Ken just didn't want to. Again, kids, see storytelling. She wasn't even trying to act like she was not aligned with Val, and Ken just didn't want to accept it. He wants to think that Val's somehow, brainwashed her or something. As Ken's perspective, he doesn't want to believe that she wants to be with Val. So she does a little dirtiness to him, and he gets out of the ring and in her face like he wants to catch a case. We're gonna have a sibling rivalry there for a second, but she just bitch slapped him. That was the simple solution to that. Just give him a good old bitch slap. So I liked that part of it as well. I am a man that usually knows a lot of things, and you asked me during this match if that was Ken Shamrock's actual sister, and I could not remember, so I had to Google it. I'm ashamed of myself. Um, but it was not. She was a local wrestler that they found somewhere to play Shamrock's sister for the storyline. But still a great storyline. And really, what happened in the end is Shamrock decided he was going to put his hands on the ref, and we all know you can't do that. You're not allowed to put your hands. You cannot put your hands on the officials. So
Not one that will kick your ass.
Right. Like Earl Hebner can usually push you down. This isn't Earl Hebner. This is fucking Billy Gunn. I thought he was going to give him a famouser out there, but he didn't. He just hit him a few times, threw him back in the ring, and then did the quickest 3 count in history to make Val the new Intercontinental Champion. Then Shamrock and Billy fought a little bit on the outside, and then Billy went in the ring and started beating up Val too. So obviously Billy's motive was, I don't really care who walks out of here with this title. I want the title. I want to be the champion.
Right. I think this is leading up to a triple threat title match at WrestleMania.
Possibly. This was definitely, and once I saw that happen, so I said, okay, so Billy's motive the whole time was, let's see what happens. Like, Billy didn't really care who walked out of there with the champion, but once Shamrock put his hands on him, that made the decision for Billy about who was going to walk out of there with the Intercontinental title. So I enjoyed it. It was good storytelling. It was good wrestling. And then you had the extra layer of the special guest referee, and Billy Gunn was magic in it. Like, early on, he went to do a count, and when he got up, he did one of these, and he was like, oh, my shoulder. Like, he couldn't make the count because his shoulder was hurt. Like, it was fucking great stuff, man. And again, I don't have to sound like a broken record saying that I didn't have an appreciation for Shamrock back then. Opposite, though, I always loved Val. And it wasn't necessarily character. I'm talking Val Venus was a good wrestler. Like, Val could go in the ring. And we all know the money shot was...
He could go all night, I would say.
That's what the ladies said.
Hello, ladies.
So I enjoyed this. There are 3 men in this match, but I thought it was a little better than that. So I'm going to give this 3.5 slow counts. 3.5 slow.
Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. So I'm going to give this the 1, 2, 3.5.
He's doing the fast.
I do the fast. You do the slow. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it works out. All right. Well, I know what's next because I peeked ahead, and this should be interesting because I don't remember. I know I watched this pay-per-view. We're about to get ourselves a mixed tag match, folks. But there's only one woman involved. Only one woman involved. Wonder who it could be. It's a wonder. It's a wonder who might be the woman in this match. Like the 8th wonder or the 9th wonder, because Andre was the 8th. But anyway, let's check it out. Let's see what it is. All right, so here we go. Our next match is a mixed tag match, and they always want to talk. Fans and stuff always want to talk about the women's revolution and Becky and Charlotte and all this, and that's true. But China was back here doing stuff way before. And this is another example. They said China was the first woman ever to. I mean, she's the only woman in this match, so it's not even really a mixed tag match. She's legit the only female in a tag team match. That's all men. So another first for China. She wrestled the fellow. She didn't care. I do not remember China being in the corporation.
Neither do I.
Yeah, I do not remember that. And that's why we got the tag team match. We got DX, which is Triple H and X-Pac against corporate team of Kane and China. And I'm going to assume this has been, we don't watch the Raws. We got to assume this has been going on at least a few weeks because Triple H had 0 issues wrestling China and whooping that ass. Like there was no, and I'm not, this is a male fighting a woman thing. I'm talking about with their background and their relationship and how they were in love. I was shocked that there was no hesitation from Triple H to go toe to toe with China. I found that a little interesting. I mean, he gave her the high knee lift. He was just messing it up in a whole nother way. Wink, wink. And yeah, it was a great match. It was a good match. A little side note here. I love X-Pac is a great wrestler, but little guys always get their asses kicked really well. I just want to point that out. Like, love this. It's always fun to watch Kane fighting X-Pac because he's just gonna toss him around like a fucking a sack of potatoes. But X-Pac said he made the most money in his career when he was with Kane, when they were a tag team, which is not too far from this. And then eventually they broke up and had the whole. And he said that's the most money he ever made in his life was his little time with Kane. So, but I thought it was a good match. It was fun. Like I said, I just expected a little more hesitation, but apparently we're at a point where Triple H and China are just like, fuck you, whatever, buddy. I don't care. I don't love you no more. I don't love you no more. I'll pedigree your ass. But and I was surprised the fans. This shows you how times were different. Like the fans were into it. There was nobody like booing because Triple H was physically fighting China. But they mentioned that the build up to this fight, she kept talking about how she wanted to be treated like a man. X-Pac takes care of that later. But it's horrible. The Bronco Buster. It's on a whole other level. So I thought it was a good match with a good backstory. It was fun. And in the end, the only thing that bothered me just a little bit, Kane and Triple H ended up fighting. So they were fighting, or X-Pac and Kane were fighting outside the ring, whatever. Shane, that's what happened. Shane got involved in the match at one point and clothesline X-Pac. So X-Pac ends up chasing Shane out. Triple H is in a position where he's getting ready to pedigree China, and Kane comes in and choke slams Hunter. And then drags China and puts her on top, and all that's fine. But for some reason, Tim White must have been like down the street at fucking Starbucks, and took him a little longer than it should get back to the ring. I think. I thought Triple H was going to kick out because it took the ref so long to get back into the ring. Other than that, I had no complaints. I'm just like, come on, man. I know Kane choke slammed him, but Triple H has been dead for like 20 minutes. Where the fuck's the ref? What are we doing? What's going on? What's happening? And China picks up the win. So there you go. Overall, I thought it was a fun match, entertaining, and China could go with the guys. I mean, she was as good as any of the men in this ring. Like, it was a match. It was fun. And I love that nobody cared. I love that she was accepted as a performer. You know what I mean? To the level of nobody was yelling like, oh, how can you hit a woman or nothing? They care. Everybody's like, whoop that ass, China. Kick that ass. Do it. Good stuff. None of that over there. None of that over there, sir. You're not. Yeah. Go ahead,
though. Clearly, China likes to be on top.
Apparently, somebody didn't see the video. Anyway, yeah, she likes top, bottom, backward. Anyway, that's a whole other podcast. Wrong peacock. Good fun match. This, I'm sure we'll see develop some more. Like I said, I know here at some point we're getting to where there's gonna be no more DX, which is sad. But
that's sad.
We're gonna get into where DX breaks up. Everybody kind of goes their own ways. Of course, Triple H becomes the face of the company. But I kind of can't wait to get to the point where Kane and X-Pac are a tag team, because I remember it being pretty fun, even though it was definitely a weird combination.
It was.
As far as this match,
I remember liking it.
Yeah, as far as this match, good, fun, entertaining match. China with victory. I'm going to give this 3 Bronco Busters.
I was going to go with 3. I'm very sad you didn't notice the picture.
What didn't I notice? I mean, everybody's there. Yep. Are you talking about, did you intentionally try to make it look like X-Pac is picking Triple H's nose?
Yeah!
See? Look, you didn't even notice.
I worked very hard on that, and you didn't even make a comment. I was very disappointed.
Oh, don't cry for me, Argentina. I don't know why I broke that out, but Argentina. Sorry, I apologize. I do see Triple H is getting his nose picked by X-Pac.
I had it so perfect, and I do these things for your reaction, and when you don't react, it makes me a sad panda.
I'm sorry, sad panda. Sorry, I didn't catch it right away. Sorry. Please don't be mad at me. Please don't be mad at me.
It's so sad.
Well, we know what's next. I'm just sad. I'm not mad at you. I'm disappointed. You famous parrot line. I'm gonna make them hurt even worse. I'm gonna tell them I'm disappointed. They're gonna cry themselves to sleep tonight. We only have 2 matches left, but the world title's next, because that's the main event. The main event is Mr. McMahon and Austin. So we already know. I don't remember this match completely, but come on, it's Rock and fucking Mick Foley. So I imagine we are about to have somewhere between a 4 and 5 star match, is my guess. I don't know. It's last man standing too, which means no rules. So it'll be interesting. The only thing I've waited about these last man standing matches is the count gets kind of, you wait for him to count, and the guy gets up at like 7 sometimes. But anyway, I'm sure we're going to get a little package here on this feud. Like I said, this is coming off the Raw where Stone Cold helped Foley become champion. That'll put some butts in seats. Everybody changes the channel. WCW.
Kind of like when China got a lot of package when Xbox did the Bronco Buster.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go.
Let's do it. All right, so here we go. And our next match has been definitely over these last several pay-per-views or months back in this time period has been like the feud going on. Every time they deliver, it's The Rock and Mankind for the championship. This is a last man standing match. I mean, we're going to sound like a broken record, I feel, because anytime these two fight, it's gold. Because we all know Mick Foley is a lunatic. And and The Rock's The Rock. So, I mean, every time these get together, it's magic. And there were just certain spots like when he threw the stairs out of the ring onto Mick and they hit like right into his hip. You know, like I get it. I know those steps aren't as heavy as we portray them, but let me throw a pair of those into your hip and see how that fucking feels. I don't think it's going to, you know, I mean, to me, this was everything I expected. The ending threw me off a little bit and we'll get there. But other than that, fought all over the place, a lot of crazy spots. I think that when Foley had The Rock dangling over the announce table and he delivered his elbow like he's always done over the years, I think that hurt Mick worse than it did The Rock. It seemed like he landed on his knee a little awkwardly. But we all know and love Mick because we know he's fucking insane. By the way, in an interview I think sometime last week, Foley stated he's rethinking that last match thing he said. He's thinking maybe that's not a good idea. Just let throw that out there. Now he's going, maybe I shouldn't push that button to see
they
what.
Start watching his old matches, maybe?
Maybe. He was listening to our podcast. He's like, those guys are right. I'm a fucking idiot. Not an idiot. All respect and love. He's actually not an idiot, and I've said it a million times. Mick Foley is got to be top 5. I mean, have we watched a bad Foley match? And every time he gets into a feud, it's just good match after good match after good match. And for him, I'm not saying he's never had a bad match. My point is, though, Foley's up there, and I've said it before, he's just not kind of in the conversation with the Rocks and the Austin, but
Boiler
he did a lot for the business. Oh, yeah, bad one. You found one. You found Boiler Room Brawl. But his feud with The Undertaker was great. And this, of course, we're getting ready to go into WrestleMania. The whole match was laid out great, crazy shit, beautiful storytelling. The Rock is the king of selling. The only thing I don't like about last man standing matches is all these times they do the count, see if anybody but I know it's just part of the match. You have to deal with that. But there was a spot at the end where they chair shot at each other. He starts counting, and I literally said to you while we're watching, because I didn't remember the match, like, are we going to have a draw? Has that happened before? And it was a draw. Both men got stretchered out. Those must have been some really good chair shots, because they went through a lot worse shit than those chair shots at the end.
Yeah.
And both men got stretchered out. So without giving away too many spoilers, it just makes me curious about, what happens between now and Mania on all the Raw, because, I know what the main event of WrestleMania is. Yeah. And let me just say Mick Foley is not in it. No spoilers, but Mick Foley is not in the main event of the next WrestleMania, so I don't know how we get there.
Unfortunately, that sounds like Vince McMahon doesn't want Mick Foley to headline the WrestleMania situation.
Right. There was a spot where there was a ref bump, and the first thing I said was, you know how much I love these when there's a match with no rules, but you did make a good right away.
Yeah, this wasn't about
the ref bump made sense because The Rock was out, and he can't get counted down if the ref's not awake. It wasn't about cheating. It was about
you got to remember, sometimes ref bumps are about other things than just being able to cheat.
Right. I don't mind a ref bump as long as there's a purpose behind it, and this one had a purpose. The reasoning was you can't count The Rock down if the ref's not. So it's okay. I accepted this one. Foley also slapped on a mandible claw with no glove or Mr. Sacco, which made me uncomfortable. I don't know why. It's just like, ew. And I know it's The Rock, you
prefer it with the sock, huh?
Seems a little more sanitary. The dirty sock just seems a little more, I don't know. But overall,
does it though?
It was a great match, just like I expected. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I don't have anything special. I couldn't think of a special tag, but it's definitely a 4 for me.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it. No, that doesn't work. I was like, I was gonna say a 2, and they hit each other to make a 4.
See but that does work, right? They're adding.
That
Yeah,
does work.
get 2
That
chairs.
does work. It's add. 2 chairs.
2 chairs here, 2 chairs here. 4. I got it. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. So there you go, and that means we have our main event. This is a steel cage match between Stone Cold and Mr. McMahon. And the stipulation is if Stone Cold wins, he gets Mr. McMahon's WrestleMania spot. Because remember, Mr. McMahon won the Rumble. So
that's right.
So this is for the main event spot at WrestleMania. It's Austin and McMahon in a steel cage. And just real quickly, because I don't want to forget this, I'm going to throw this in now. This is the last pay-per-view with the tagline "In Your House." And moving forward, we're going to start naming every pay-per-view with permanent names. Some of them still change later, but the first example is after WrestleMania, we have Backlash for the first time, and Backlash is still around today. We're about to have
still the
about to have Backlash in France.
WrestleMania.
Yeah. Yep. There's a short time. I don't remember if Backlash went away for a minute, but there was a short time. Payback was the pay-per-view after WrestleMania there for a few years. But anyway, yeah. So we're going to start getting more normal named pay-per-views instead of these one-offs. And yeah, let's do it. Let's check out the main event. Let's see Mr. McMahon bleed. Spoiler: he bleeds. All right, so here we go. Our main event was the spectacle that was Mr. McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin eventually in a steel cage with the WrestleMania spot on the line. And we got some classic heel from Mr. McMahon. I think it was what a good. Wikipedia says this match was only 6 minutes. Because it was probably a good 10, 15 minutes before they actually got into the to the cage.
I made that joke while we were watching. I'm like, this is only going to be about a 5-minute match.
And it was.
I guess I was mostly right.
You were. And we were actually discussing it while we were watching all this because the shit just started right away. Vince was trying to do everything he could to not get into the cage. They're fighting on the cage and around the ring and all this. And I'm just like, did it even start? I didn't hear the bell ring. So we get to the spot where they're both on the cage. Fucking Stone Cold takes Vince, hits his head on the top of the cage. Vince bounces, folks, off the fucking cage, lands on the announce table, and also bounces when he hits the fucking announce table. Like, I know it wasn't Mick Foley from the top of the Hell of the Cell, but this is fucking Mr. McMahon. And the Spanish announce guys even ended up on the floor. And I only found that weird because usually the announcers know it's coming. You know what I mean? They might not know everything in the match, but usually they're like, hey, guys, you're the Spanish announcers. Your table's getting fucking tore up. But that dude was on the floor, so I don't think he knew it was. So that happens. They go to take Mr. McMahon out on the stretcher, and Austin gets in the ring as they're trying to announce him as a winner, and he grabs the mic and says, this is bullshit. The match hasn't even started. If you want to see me or finish what I started, give me a hell yeah, whatever. The crowd's hot. Like, I still miss this. WrestleMania this weekend was really good, but the crowds aren't like this. You know what I mean? Like, this crowd was intense.
I don't know. I feel like anytime you go to Chicago, it's even more intense.
That is one place you have certain spots like Chicago where the fans can be really intense. But so needless to say, Austin followed the stretch down the aisle, beat up everybody around it, except that he hit the paramedic lady because he might have. I don't know. He might have hit her too. Hell, he was taking.
No, he just was like moving him out of the way.
Oh, that's right. He just pushed her. There was one woman, so he just pushed her a little bit.
Out of the way.
Yeah. And he literally rolls McMahon back down while he's on the stretcher and then just dumps his ass right in front of the fucking steel cage. And then we get into the cage and we get the actual match, which was actually just Stone Cold whooping Mr. McMahon's ass.
Right.
We got to you made a really interesting point at the end of this that kind of has me curious now, though, because we both saw it. Mr. McMahon got busted open. I think he did a razor job to himself because I could see the gash, and I'm like, Vent, you're like the dude on fucking Scream. I'm feeling a little woozy, man. I think you cut me too deep. Like, Vince, you don't have to take an inch gap out of your fucking skull. But anyway, the interesting thing was there was no blood on Austin. That's kind of weird.
No.
I mean, Vince wasn't Ric Flair bleeding, but you would have thought there would have been some little bit of blood.
Well, I was mostly bringing up the fact that it seems like every time Austin is in a match, his
He
bald
bleeds?
head is bleeding.
Yeah.
So
Well,
this
he's not-
time he's
he's-
actually not bleeding, nor did he have
he's not-
blood from his opponent.
Right. He's not John Moxley, so he doesn't have to bleed in every match to get over like Moxley has to. But anyway, I've been hating. I'm hating. I'm AEW hating on the podcast every week now because I can. Anyway, the best part to me once they got in the cage, and I think you'll kind of agree because we storytelling and all that. Every time Austin went to leave and changed his mind, his fucking facials and his movements were just on the money. He'd give that little look, like, I'm not done yet. All right. Yeah, and then we found out towards the end of the match when he changed his mind one other time that Austin was in Bloodline in 1999 and we didn't know it. So he was just doing this in the ring. Actually asking the crowd if they wanted to one more or whatever. But and then what about the finish? Now I kind of wish I'm on the same track as you. I wish I would have kept to myself the
I wish you would have.
surprise.
Yeah, I wish you
pay-per-view.
would have told me that. I think I
But
do
I spoiled
remember
it.
this somewhat.
Yeah,
But
I spoiled it,
wouldn't have
and I
remembered.
actually spoiled it weeks ago before and I spoiled it again when this started. But anyway, this is how we get to the end of the match. I kind of noticed something when Austin and McMahon were fighting right before the big surprise. I saw the knife come up from under the ring, cut the mat. You could see it at the bottom of the shot just for a second.
Yeah.
You could see But anyway, we got a big surprise, and that big surprise was Paul White come up through the ring. And the plan was he was going to throw Austin into the cage and annihilate him, I guess, just by throwing him into the cage. But instead, the cage opened completely. The whole side opened up, and Stone Cold won. So plan backfired. Like you, I thought this was in the heat of the Monday Night Wars, so I know they thought this was a big signing. Paul White was somebody that Eric thought they just couldn't do anything else with. He's a big guy, whatever. It happened. He fired Stone Cold by FedEx. Shit happens. And I don't blame them for signing him. I just thought it was weird they brought him in right here and this quickly because I was telling you while we were watching the match, he goes away pretty quick because they realized Paul White couldn't wrestle. And that's just facts. Hulk Hogan literally saw this guy at a basketball game and they were like, you're going to be a fucking wrestler. And boom. Like he was learning literally in the ring when he was in WCW. The man did not go to wrestling school. So you talk about green. I don't. He had no wrestling experience when he got to WCW, and he literally just learned as he went. But he was athletic.
That makes
I don't think longevity more impressive.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, to be fair, as the Giant, which we haven't got to that yet, but fair as the Giant, they were using him like you should for that character. He didn't have to wrestle a lot in his matches because he was a Giant. You know what I mean? But he did some shit in WCW you wouldn't expect. Like Big Show can do a kip up. You know what a kip up is, right?
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels used to do them all the time. Big Show can do that shit, and he did it at WCW times.
Wow.
But every time Big Show did something that a man that size shouldn't do, he was told to stop doing it. They said, you can't be athletic. You're a giant. You can't deliver drop kicks. You can't do kip ups. That kills your character. Choke slam, punch, game over, whatever. So he was really green. And that's why he's not here on the main roster very long. I don't even know if he has a match as Paul White. I can't quite remember. But they sent him down to Ohio Valley. And when he comes back, he's the Big Show. So there you go. But we now know Stone Cold's going on to WrestleMania. As of right now, that means it would be Mankind and Stone Cold, but I'm pretty sure that's not the main event of WrestleMania 15. So obviously there's some stuff that happens between now and Mania on TV. Yes. Because I know for a fact the main event of WrestleMania 15 is Rock and Austin. It's the first of the trilogy, which I'm excited about because I don't remember their matches in a lot of detail. I know I've seen them all, but I don't remember the matches a whole lot. So I'm kind of excited to go back and watch them.
I like Big Show, but I tell you what, I never could get into, well, it's the Big Show.
I thought
his entrance was
other than pretending he was Andre the Giant's son, I thought that character was better than Big Show in my opinion. Like I liked him being just the Giant. You didn't have to call him Andre's son. That was kind of stupid, but
even
I liked him a little better.
Not that bad. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't utilize that in WWF.
To be honest, To be honest, I was a young fan then, and I believed it. I thought it was believable that was Andre's son. I didn't know it wasn't Andre's son. I didn't know Andre didn't have a son. I did think that was Andre's son. I mean, why wouldn't you have back then when you saw that guy? But there you go. It's our introduction to Paul White, and we know, like you said, Big Show's around for a long time, and he turned heel and babyface more than a fucking turnstile at a Subway does on a daily basis. I don't know what the, that's Big Show's biggest complaint about his career is all the turning from babyface to heel, babyface, especially towards the end. It seemed like every week he was going from good guy to bad guy, good guy to bad guy. But as far as this, I know this was not a, 5-star technical match, but any match that we rank, it has to do with the whole thing and the story and Mr. McMahon's character. And when we talk about Mr. McMahon's character, we're not talking about the piece of shit Vince McMahon who did horrible fucking shit that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the wrestling character.
Although knowing that horrible shit made it really fun to watch the Mr. McMahon character.
Yeah, you did say that, Dirty. He's like, it makes this ass whooping all the more. I just want to tell people that, we're going to keep doing a show, and guess what? We're going to see Chris Benoit matches too, but it has, you got to separate the two. You know what I mean? This is the Mr. McMahon. This is the Mr. McMahon character. This is not Vince McMahon, Vince Kennedy McMahon. It's the old saying in wrestling, like I heard on a podcast the other day when someone said, The Rock is a character. Dwayne Johnson has a driver's license. The Rock doesn't have a driver's license. Doesn't quite work with Mr. McMahon because he used his actual name, but the point is the characters, and Mr. McMahon was a great one. So anyway, my point with all that rambling was I found this very entertaining, and a good match doesn't always have to be a 5-star whatever. The crowd fucking loved this thing. Everybody's dreamed about whooping their boss's ass at some time in their life. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was highly entertaining, told a good story. I'm giving it 4. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm going to give it 4 Big Shows.
I'm going with 4 cans of whoop asses.
Whoop ass. Whoop ass. Right. Yeah. And a great way to end the pay-per-view. This was actually usually, when you follow the world title match, a lot of times it's like, oh man, that match wasn't as good. And how many times was I like, Stone Cold's got to be in back going, damn it, I don't want to follow that. I don't want to follow that. He had to follow Mick Foley and The Rock again, but he did a really good job, and he did it with fucking Mr. McMahon. I mean, come on. That's good shit. All right, we did it. We made it through the pay-per-view. It was. Like, listen, people can say what they want, but the Mr. McMahon character is the whole reason why WWE is still on TV, and it's not WCW. Just saying. That's not the whole reason, but that's a whole nother podcast. Now that we've made it through, though, we got to pick some matches.
All right.
Favorite match of the night.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I was digging our music. All right, favorite match of the night. There's actually a tough choice here because there's 2 4-star matches.
I had 3.
You have 3. You had 3 4-star matches. I didn't remember giving you 3 4s. I didn't remember you doing that. But anyway, I had 2 4s. I'm gonna go with. I got to go with Rock and Mankind. Mr. McMahon and Austin was more entertaining, but as far as the match itself, I got to go with my boy Foley and the final boss. The final boss. So, yeah.
My favorite match was Joe Hendry. Sorry.
And the worst part is I can't yell at him because the fucking mic beats on you. Dick.
I'm actually gonna go with. Don't get me wrong. I love the 2 main events or whatever. I'm actually gonna go with the other 4-star one that you forgot, and that is the Hardcore Championship match between Al Snow and Hardcore Holly.
Okay.
I was not expecting that to be as much fun as it was. It was a blast. This is one of the better pay-per-views we've watched. There's a lot of good in this. We may not have had anything up to 5 or 4.5, but 3 4-star. Now we also had Midian versus Big Boss Man.
I don't think I gave the Hardcore a 4-star. I think I must have been. I think the only one I only did the 2, but I forgot that you gave them 4.
I gave it a 4-star.
So yeah, that was on me. Yeah,
I like this match a lot, and I think I'm giving it to this one because we all expected Rock and Mankind. We all expected Stone Cold and Vince to be a lot of fun.
True.
I did not expect this match to go as hard as it did.
It was really fun. It was fun, well done, hardcore match. If that's your thing, it's worth checking out. It was
due to
really
the
fun.
lack of expectations for this match. I gotta go with this being the best match of the night.
I can't argue there. That's a good pick. Good pick. All right, so we know what's best. What's worst?
Worst match of the night.
All right. Well, for me, I am going to go with the one that not only I ranked low, but the crowd ranked low as well. I'm going to go with Boss Man and Midian as the worst match of the night. Even though the first match may not have been the greatest, but it was still entertaining because Goldust was in it. So I'm going to go with Boss Man and Midian.
I was thinking about going with the opposite one, which is Goldust versus Blue Dust, but no, Midian versus Boss Man kind of sucked.
Yeah, because at least the crowd was into Blue Dust and Goldust, and it was entertaining. It's just like we'd both said, it just kind of felt like a Raw match instead of a pay-per-view match, but at least it was fun and quick. When you got the crowd chanting boring, before that you could have heard a pin drop, and then all you hear is boring. That's a little rough.
Right,
so, yeah,
right.
That is it. That is definitely the one. All right. Well, this is a one-offer. We don't have to do any rankings as far as pay-per-view, but we got to do some plugins, some pluggables. Like we said, this will be the last. Technically, this was still tagged in your house, but the network or the cock, whatever you want to say, ended in your house a while ago, and these are considered, separately. So no more tagline of in your house. We'll have individual pay-per-views from now on. So yeah.
Honestly,
let's plug some pluggables.
I didn't notice in your house anywhere at that pay-per-view.
It's not on any of the graphics or anything, but they announced it when the pay-per-view started. If you look it up on Wikipedia, it does say St. Valentine's Day Massacre in your house. But
fair enough.
Whatever. But then on Wikipedia, it also says the next in your house is when it comes back with NXT. So we got a while before we'll see you in your house again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do it. Let's plug some pluggables. And if all goes right, next week, we're going to be back with WrestleMania, right? That's what we're hoping.
That's right.
Schedules included, but do it. Plug away, Dragon Blazer.
You can find me at Dragon Blazer Productions on the Facebook, the Instagram, the YouTubes, and the TikToks at Dragon Blazer Productions, as I already said. And then you can also find me on the X at Dragon Blazer Pro. You can also find this. You can also find this podcast on the YouTubes at the Boomer and Blaze Show.
That's right. Hit that like and subscribe button. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
That's right. Of course, we have the Boomer and Blaze Show Facebook page that you can always check out. You can follow the show at Boomer_Blaze on the Insta and the X. And we are at the Boomer and Blaze Show on TikTok. So there you go. We did it. We survived. Hopefully, we do a show next week. If your house isn't picked up and moved like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, hopefully you don't have a tornado. He had some sirens going off right before we finished wrapping up. So this is why I love my co-host. He hears these sirens. He's like, let me go check outside. By the way, do you think you could edit this if something happens to me before the show's over?
That's right.
That's why I love him, right? He's not like, I may die. Can you edit the podcast? That's all I need to know. So I know I
want my death in the aether. If I'm gonna die on the podcast and I'm gonna have it recorded, I might as well get famous after my death.
Amen. That's right. You do it, bro. All right. Well, that is it. This, folks, has been the Boomer and Blaze Show. Yeah, I'm Boomer or something, right? Yeah, I'm Boomer.
You are. Yeah, I think I'm Blaze.
And I think that's Blaze. And we will see you next week. And good night from Dragon Blazer Studio. I had a brain fart at the end. I don't know. Maybe I'm forgetting how to do this. Good night from Dragon Blazer Studio.
Those.
Hey everyone, this is Blaze from the Raging Blaze and the Boomer and Blaze show. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more wrestling content.